Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome to your new favorite place on the internet. My name's Bella and I love talking about books, animes, and K-dramas, and literally just anything that makes me happy. I love sharing with you guys. We're halfway through the year, halfway through 2023, which is insane to think about, and honestly I don't really want to think about it that much because just the thought of time passing is incredibly terrifying, so I won't dwell too much on that, but I do want to talk a little bit of how my reading's been going. So for this video, I am so happy and so excited to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. I've been seeing so many of my favorite creators doing this one, and it's so interesting to see how their reading year is going. So I thought that you guys would love to know as well, just how many books I've read. Has it been a successful type of year? Have I found any new favorite books? Before we get into the questions, I thought it would be really fun to show you guys my reading stats for the year so far, because apparently in these 6 months that we've lived of 2023, I've read a total of 121 books. Yeah, don't ask me how, don't ask me why, don't ask me what. I honestly could not tell you how I did this, but I read 121 books, and there's definitely been some 5 stars, there's definitely been some disappointments that I will definitely mention in this video. Apparently 2023 has been a pretty good reading year because my average rating is 4.09 stars. I haven't found that many new favorite books, but I've definitely been reading a lot of amazing books that I will definitely be recommending to you guys over and over again, because they will now forever live rent-free in my head, and I just have to talk to you guys about those books. I've read a total of 37,943 pages, spanning the total of 121 books, which is insane to me. That's just, I still can't wrap my head around that number, but hey, let's move on. Most of the books that I've read this year have been adventurous, emotional, and dark. So if that doesn't give you a clear picture of how 2023 is going for me, I don't know what will. I've also been reading a lot of funny, lighthearted, reflective reads, so that's always interesting. I like having like a little mix of everything, I like to keep myself on my toes. So I do agree that I've been reading quite a few different genres this year. I'm not only reading romance or fantasy, I'm also leaning a lot towards philosophy apparently, and like books that focus a lot on existentialism, and literary fiction as well has been a very big genre for me this year. So that's always fun. Another thing that I found quite interesting is the fact that I haven't really listened to that many audiobooks this year. I think so far I've only listened to 2 audiobooks, which is insane considering the amount of audiobooks that I read last year. But I think that because I've been leaning so much on my Kindle and my physical TBR, I haven't had that much time for audiobooks, but I think that's about to change in the few months that are left in 2023, because I miss audiobooks. Something that I love to do in 2022 and that I haven't really done this year is just play on my Switch while I listen to an audiobook. And I think that for the rest of 2023, I'm definitely going to be doing that again, because it was just so fun. And I think it's just such a great way of reading and also just like mindlessly playing Animal Crossing or something. I don't know. There's just something very cathartic and very comforting about those 2 activities done at the same time. Now that we've talked about my reading stats, let's move on to the very first question of the mid-year book freakout tag, which is the best book that you've read in 2023 so far. This year, I've given 32 books 5 stars, 25 of them being manga. So it wasn't really that hard for me to find my favorite book of 2023, because as soon as I read this question, the first book that popped into my mind was Yellow Face by R.F. Kuang. Like, there is no doubt about it. There is zero competition. Honestly, it's Yellow Face. This is the arc that I was so lucky to receive, and I am still so honored that I get to own an arc of my favorite book of 2023. I honestly don't know if I'll be able to find or read another book that matches how much I loved Yellow Face. I feel like this book is a stranger to no one because Yellow Face quite literally took over BookTube and Instagram by storm. I feel like you've either read this book or heard about this book, and if you haven't read it yet, what are you waiting for, my dude? This is one of the most incredibly written books that I have read in a very long time, and I love that R.F. Kuang just sort of slapped the publishing industry in the face. It's just such a girl boss move in my opinion. If you've never heard of Yellowface before, we're basically following this author who decides to steal her friend's manuscript after a freak accident. But not only does she steal it, she also pretends that she wrote it herself. And through this extremely messy plot, we also get to delve into the questions of diversity and race and cultural appropriation in the publishing industry. And R.F. Kuang also explores how terrifying social media can be and the power that social media holds over the publishing industry, and how one single tweet or one single post can be your downfall. She also explores cancel culture. She also explores the toxicity of some communities and how maybe our actions are actually like making the situation worse. It's such an eye-opener, and it's so bold, and it's not afraid to speak up about extremely controversial topics. I just think that R.F. Kuang truly outdid herself, because I've loved all of her other books. Babel was also one of my favorite books of 2022, and I love her Poppy War trilogy, but I think that with Yellowface, she just truly just broke my expectations. She went above and beyond them, and I literally read this in one sitting because I couldn't put it down. It was so addicting, it was so messy and insane. I think that this is just required reading for every single person out there. If you're watching this channel, we probably have similar book tastes, so I feel like you would actually really enjoy this one. And before I just make this whole video about Yellowface, I'm going to be putting this down, but just know that this is the best book of 2023 so far, and I think honestly it's going to remain that way until the end of the year. The next question is the best sequel that you've read so far, and honestly I haven't read that many sequels, so it was actually hard for me to choose this one. And this one was actually a reread. I've read this book every single year ever since I read it, so I don't know if this is sort of like a cop-out, because I honestly have not read that many sequels. If I'm not counting manga, because I feel like with manga, the more volumes that you read, the better that the story gets, so I feel like that doesn't really count for this question. So for this one, I chose The Wicked King by Holly Black. This is one of the first books that I read in 2023, and every single year that I read it, I find something else to love about it. This is the sequel to The Cruel Prince, yet another very popular series in the booktube sphere and also Bookstagram, and also just like the book community in general. I feel like The Cruel Prince is one of those staple trilogies that you always hear about, and there's a reason for that. I completely adore this story. I adore these characters. Will never grow tired of Carden and Jude and seeing them grow and develop into the people that I know that they will become. Their dynamic, their interactions, the chemistry between these characters, it's just everything off the charts. It's incredible. I never get tired of rereading this trilogy, and this year was no different. I had so much fun rereading The Wicked King, and I am definitely going to be rereading this series next year. And I'm also really excited to read the sequel for The Stolen Heir. I don't know when it's coming out, but I really enjoyed The Stolen Heir, so I know that's a question in the future, but that's another book that I'm really excited to read. So Wicked King, best sequel that I've read in 2023. No surprise there. This is gorgeous. I just wanted to show it to you guys because I love when books have like little details under the dust jacket. And this is how my tabs look. I always love sharing how my books look when I've tapped them because they just look really satisfying, and I know you guys enjoy seeing it as well. Okay, this is kind of funny to me. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. Can you tell I love this book? Maybe, just a tiny bit, just a tad. The next question is a new release you haven't read yet, but you really want to, and I immediately thought of The Serpent and the Wings of Night. I recently, well not recently, like this month, I got this book sent to me by Bethany. Bethany, if you're watching this, you're an angel, thank you so much. I started reading it, but I only made it to like chapter 3, not because I wasn't enjoying it, but because my currently reading list is just ridiculous at this point. I've been so excited to read this book that even though I'm in the middle of 5 other books, I decided to pick this one up, but my brain said, sis, I can't do this, and it just shut down. So I haven't been able to pick this book back up, but I really want to read this because I've just heard so many incredible things, and I know so many people that are obsessed with this book, and I've heard it's about vampires and there's like a tournament going on, and I'm a big fan of tournaments and of vampires, so I feel like this is the perfect book for me, especially because I'm in such a big fantasy mood. So I definitely want to read this, hopefully before the year ends. I've just heard so many incredible things, so I feel like it's time for me to finally jump into the bandwagon. If I love it, I feel like I will, but like, you never know. So I'm definitely keeping my expectations low, and I'm just going into this book expecting nothing. I am expecting nothing. The next question is most anticipated releases for the rest of the year, and for this question I actually have 2 answers. Don't kill me, but I just couldn't choose between these 2. The first one is Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldree. This is a prequel to Legends and Lattes, and I absolutely loved Legends and Lattes. I read it last year and it was such a cozy fantasy. You know, there weren't that many high stakes. It was just like this very fantastical world with so many different types of creatures, and it was just a fun time. It's like this ogre lady that wanted to open up a coffee shop. She just wanted to leave all of her bloody days behind her, so she opens up a coffee shop and she starts making friends. She's learning how to make coffee and different types of coffee at that, and it's just a really warm and lovely story, and I just know the prequel is going to be just as good. It's coming out in November, so I need to stay alive until November 7th because I need to read this book. I need to be back into this cozy environment that I know is just going to heal something inside of me. I just know it. Coincidentally, the other book that I am really excited for is also coming out on November 7th, and that is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. This is the sequel to Fourth Wing, which is a book that I read literally 6 days ago, and I have not stopped thinking about it because I loved it so much. I know that so many people have said that it's overrated and it doesn't deserve that high rating on Goodreads, but for me it does. As I mentioned, I've been in such a huge fantasy kick, and I feel like Fourth Wing just ticked all of my boxes. It's not like it's reinventing the wheel, but it just has fun with it, and I really love having fun, especially if it pertains to dragons. So yeah, I'm really excited for the sequel. I'm definitely going to read it as soon as it hits the shelves, and oh my goodness, I'm so excited. Oh my god, that is another book that I went into with 0 expectations, and I just had the best time. The next question is your biggest disappointment. I never thought I would say this, especially considering that this is one of my favorite authors, and also considering that this was one of my most highly anticipated reads of 2023. It's just extremely sad because I really wanted to love this book, considering the fact that Emily Henry is one of my all-time favorite authors. I can't believe that I gave Happy Place 2 stars. I can't believe it myself. I still can't believe it. I look at this book and it looks like it has so much potential. It looks like it could be a new favorite book, and so many of the people that I trust gave this book a 5-star rating. They said that this was Emily Henry at her best, and I don't know why they would lie to me so blatantly. You know, it felt like a personal attack. And I just don't think I could ever trust anyone ever again after what I went through with Happy Place. All jokes aside, if you loved Happy Place, I'm so happy that I made you happy. I wish I could have had the same experience, but I didn't. Honestly, it was probably the biggest disappointment that I've had in the last couple of years, if we're being honest. And you know, it just sucks. I'm not going to dwell on it too much because I have been rereading Emily Henry's other books like Beach Read and People We Meet on Vacation, and the magic is still there. Like, I still love Emily Henry, and I think maybe it's a little bit what's that word, unfair to think that all of the books of your favorite authors are going to be absolute 5 stars. So maybe that's on me, you know, for believing in people. No, but again, all jokes aside, biggest disappointment, Happy Place by Emily Henry. It's okay, it's fine, I survived, and that's all that matters. I can't wait to see what she does next. Hopefully nothing like Happy Place. Next up, we have the biggest surprise, and I don't think this one is going to come as a shock to a lot of you, because when I first read this book, I was so shocked, so gobsmacked, so flabbergasted that I then proceeded to talk about this book and how shocked I was for the next 4 or 5 videos in my channel. On my channel? Sure. The biggest surprise of 2023 so far definitely has to be Heaven Official's Blessing. I'm still pretty shocked that I loved this book so much, considering that the first book that I read by this author was Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation. I did not vibe with that book at all, my dude. I gave it 2 stars. Actually, I think I gave it 1.5 stars. I was so sad that I didn't like Grandmaster because so many of you guys in the comments were like, oh my god, you're going to love this. You're going to fall in love with these characters. This is going to be everything to you. And it didn't happen like that. I was sorry that I disappointed you guys. But honestly, most of all, I was just disappointed in the book. So when I read Heaven Official's Blessing, or when I started to read Heaven Official's Blessing, I really was just like, okay, this is just going to be the same experience. The translation is just going to be wonky. It's going to be weird. I'm not going to like it. Turns out I was extremely wrong. I've never been happier to be so wrong in my life. Heaven Official's Blessing almost feels like it was translated by somebody else, and maybe it even was. I didn't really do that much research. I just know that I loved Heaven Official's Blessing so very much. So much so that I've actually bought the other volumes because I am desperate to continue this story. I need to know where these characters are going to end up on, or end up in. Heaven Official's Blessing is definitely the biggest surprise of 2023, and I don't think my answer is going to change by the end of the year. So I'm so happy that I didn't give up on this author and that I gave her another chance. And now look at me, I'm fully whipped for Xie Liang and San Lang, and I cannot wait to see where these characters are going to end up in. So yes, I'm so proud of me for not giving up. The next question is new favorite author, and for this one, honestly, I kind of struggled, and I still don't really think that this is the correct answer, because if we're being honest, I don't think I've found a new favorite author. I have found quite a few authors that I am really interested in reading more works by them, but I wouldn't really classify them as a ride or die type of author. Like, if I don't read any other book by them, I'm not going to be happy. I haven't really felt that with any new author that I've read this year, but there is definitely one author that stands out amongst the rest, and that is Fyodor Dostoevsky. Yeah. Fyodor Dostoevsky has written incredible novels like Crime and Punishment, and well, that's the only one I've liked so far. See, that's the thing. I don't really know if I can say that Fyodor Dostoevsky is a new favorite, because I read Crime and Punishment. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. Just look at the amount of tabs. Like, this is actually insane. Yeah, I went ham on the annotations. I loved this reading experience. But then I read The Brothers Karamazov, and that is probably one of the lowest rated books that I'm going to be reading in 2023. So it's like, can Fyodor really be my favorite author if he's also written one of my most disliked books? I don't know, it doesn't really make sense to me. The math ain't mathing, but at the same time, I feel like I am so interested in reading his other works, and I am just so fascinated by how he thinks and how he writes and how he sees the world. So even though I wouldn't really consider him a new favorite author, it's definitely an author that has risen above the rest so far in 2023. I think for now, I don't really have an answer to this question of new favorite author. This is more of just like a honorary mention. Let's go with that. The next question. The next question is new fictional crush, and I am so excited to share with you guys the new love of my life. It may not come as a surprise to some of you if you've been following my journey with this story. Hi, my new favorite crush, please don't tell anyone. My new favorite crush is okay, he's not even, oh, he is, oh my god. Okay, let me just calm down. Woo! Okay, my new favorite crush, oh my god, this is so crazy. I can't believe I'm telling you guys, but my new favorite crush is Zorro. Yes, my new favorite crush is Zoro from One Piece. Yes. I mean, what else can I say? Like, just look at this man. Like, there are no words to explain. I don't think I need words to explain. Like, you just need to see a picture of him and you understand why I am crushing so hard for this man. I love him. I have loved him ever since I laid eyes on him, and I feel like my life was missing something, but now it isn't because of him, because of Zoro. But I'm not only crushing on him, I'm also crushing on, where are you? I'm also crushing on Sanlang, which is the main love interest in Heaven Official's Blessing. I've looked up a couple of fan arts, and of course I've also looked at the pictures and illustrations that we have throughout this story. Oh my god, not that one. And I just really love his character. He's just the type of character that I love to read about. This is him, this right here. So these are my two new favorite fictional crushes. Please don't tell them, I would be horrified, embarrassed. But yeah, I just love them so much. Like, I cannot stop thinking about them. I even got a Zoro Funko Pop. Best purchase of my life. I'm telling you right here, right now. Best purchase of 2023 is my Zoro Funko Pop. So there we go. The next question also ties in with my previous answer because this next one is newest favorite character. I was just looking through all of the books that I've read this year, and I was going to mention Hawk from Yona of the Dawn, but I did read Yona of the Dawn last year, and that's when I started to fall in love with Hawk. So he's not really new. The only characters, because yes, I do have multiple, the only characters that I could think of that have become, you know, indispensable to me, they've become such a huge part of my life. Like, I cannot go a single day without thinking of them and hoping they're doing okay and just checking up on them. There is only one group of people there is only one group of people, or a crew, if you will, that I could think of that brings me so much happiness and so much serotonin, and they give me a reason to live, and that is the Straw Hats. Once again, from One Piece. We have Zoro, yes, but we also have Luffy and Robin and Nami and Chopper and Usopp and Sanji. And I know the Straw Hat crew is going to grow the more episodes that I watch, but right now they are so perfect together. They're so beautiful, and they have brought me so much peace and so much happiness in my life. Yes, their backstories are absolutely traumatizing and heartbreaking, and I mean, just thinking of Chopper's backstory or thinking of Robin's backstory, I'm immediately like transported into me sobbing my eyes out at 2 a.m. Even through all of those emotionally shocking moments, there is no other character that I can think of that would reach the level that the Straw Hats have reached. So that is the only possible answer that I have for this question. Please don't ask me to rank the Straw Hats because I honestly can't. Out of all the Straw Hats that we have so far, I do know who's in the bottom position, but don't ask me to rank the other Straw Hats. I just can't. I could not survive that, so please don't ask that of me. But yes, One Piece. Yeah. The next question is a book that made you cry, and for this one I actually have two books. I cannot just choose one because in 2023 I've read such an incredible amount of emotional books, but these two definitely take the cake in terms of making me sob my eyes out and having to deal with like an onslaught of emotions that I just could not control. And those two books are Sweet Bean Paste and This Is How You Lose the Time War. These took me by surprise. I honestly did not think I would feel as much as I did when I read these books, especially with This Is How You Lose the Time War, because this book has 198 pages, and in the first 90 pages I really was not vibing with this. I was like, this is definitely not for me. This is very science fiction heavy, and it's honestly just very confusing. I thought it was going to be more of like a love story or more like focused on the emotions, and those first 90 pages were not it. I was struggling a lot, but I am so happy that I didn't give up because the rest of the book is a masterpiece. It's so beautiful. If I hadn't read Heaven Official's Blessing this year, this would have definitely been the biggest surprise. I just loved this book, and the payoff is so incredible. The emotions that this book makes you feel, I honestly haven't felt it with a lot of any other books. So this is a very unique experience. It's written in a way that I have never experienced before. It's just a book that hasn't been done, and that is honestly very hard to find nowadays. So This Is How You Lose the Time War is definitely one of the books that made me cry this year, but also Sweet Bean Paste, which not only made me cry my eyes out, but it also made me delve deeper into Japanese literature, and that is something that I will forever be grateful for, because Japanese literature just has this certain type of magic that you can't find anywhere else. And if it weren't for Sweet Bean Paste, I wouldn't have taken that journey. So yeah, Sweet Bean Paste was emotional and sweet and beautiful. It's a very slow story, not much happens. It's definitely based on the emotions and the conversations that these characters are having. And I think that that's just exactly what I needed at the moment that I read this book, and that's why it hit so hard. And I just loved it so much. Like, I honestly was not expecting to cry as much as I did, but that ending, it just took me for a spin, an emotional spin that I was not strapped in for. I did not have my seatbelt on, and I just cried the whole way. So there we go. These are the two books that have made me cry the most this year. I would highly recommend both of them. Please pick these up, and if you do, let me know if you loved them. Let me know if you cried. Do not send me your therapy bill because I will not pay for it. Then we have a book that made you happy, and since I gave you guys 2 books that made me sad, I thought I would also give you 2 books that made me extremely happy in 2023. The first one being Beach Read by Emily Henry. I recently reread this bad boy, and it made me so happy because, I don't know, it just made me happy. It's filled with so many tropes that I love, and the characters themselves are so beautiful. The character development that they go through, the development of their relationship, and how beautiful it is, how sweet and kind, the conversations that they have, it's just stunning. And look at the amount of tabs yet again. Oh my goodness. And this just made me so happy. I read it, I think back in 2020 or 2019 when it first came out, and I read it so fast that I didn't have time to annotate it. So I reread it so that I could annotate it, and I had so much fun annotating, as you can see. I also read this while I was at the beach, so it was like a very immersive reading experience, and I wish I could do it all over again. And I will, because I will be rereading People We Meet on Vacation. I don't know when I'm going to the beach next, but I'm taking this bad boy with me. The next book that made me extremely happy in 2023 was Worokoi, Love is Hard for Otaku. I bought the whole box set after seeing season 1 of the anime because I just knew I needed more of this story. I love these characters so much, and if you've never heard of this story before, it's basically just this group of nerds who love each other, and they love gaming, they love reading manga, they love reading BL, they love cosplaying, and they've always felt like they've had to hide these parts of themselves because in normal society, these hobbies are seen as weird or nerdy, and like nobody's going to love you if you still watch anime in your 30s or 20s. And because of that, they've always hidden, you know, the things that make them the happiest. But in this workplace, they find each other and they build this friend group that is so beautiful and so funny. And they're constantly playing video games, they're constantly playing online games, they're reading manga. It's just so wholesome and so beautiful. And it's also this wonderful story of self-discovery and realizing that your true friends are going to accept you no matter what, and that you shouldn't hide parts of yourself to just fit into the block that society has for you. So it's a very beautiful story about friendship and love. Like the romance in this story, oh my goodness. I love the romance, I love the friendships, I love the story itself. I love every single thing about this, and I am so happy that I got the box set because I literally read all 6 volumes in one sitting. It wasn't planned, it really wasn't, because I was like, okay, I'm gonna read volume 1 and just see how far the anime got. And then when I finished volume 1, I was like, well, volume 2 is right there. So I picked it up and I was like, okay, I really want to make these manga last for like at least 2 weeks. That did not happen. No, it did not. I just kept reading until there were no more, and it was just so good. It was so good. You can try out the anime if you want, but I feel like just get the manga. It's so good. And I don't know, like there are just so many aspects of this story that made me so happy. And just like looking back on my reading experience and just remembering certain scenes and certain moments, it just makes me so stupidly happy. And I just want to spread the love. I want to spread the happiness. I want to spread the serotonin. If you need a serotonin boost, Worokoi Love is Hard for Otaku is the perfect series for that. So there you go. Pick it up, babes. Pick it up, my dude. You will not regret it. The next question is most beautiful book you've acquired this year. And for this one, again, I have two answers. I'm sorry, I'm indecisive. What can I say? The first book is this stunning edition of Addie LaRue that came all the way from Canada, and it's this one. Just like, come on now. This is how it looks in the front. This is how it looks in the back. It has a ribbon as well. Can you see it? Yes. This is how is that called? Yes. This is the constellation that Addie has on her face. Like, these are her freckles. And then, you know, just together it makes a whole constellation. It's stunning. Actually, this book made me love my freckles. So, you know, I have to give it to Addie for making me love a part of me. This is how it looks naked. Oh my goodness. She is stunning. I love her so much. And then these are the end papers. So this is her little village in France. And then in the back, we have New York City. So I love that. I love that there's been a journey. You know what I mean? It is in French. So theoretically, I can't read it. I can't read this edition, but I still love it so very much. And it's one of the most beautiful editions of Addie that I own. So like, yeah, most beautiful. There we go. The other very beautiful book that I've acquired in 2023 is the illustrated edition of The Bell Jar. Just look at this. I really enjoy this type of illustration. I find it very satisfying and very, very colorful and beautiful. It's just such a joy to look at. It's like a very muted pink under the dust jacket, and we love a good muted pink, you know what I mean? Throughout the book, we have certain illustrations of very iconic scenes from The Bell Jar. If you've read it, then you know exactly what this tree means. And we also have this one. I really just like the charcoal feel of it all. This is a very nice illustration. I love that I own this because I love The Bell Jar so much. So when I saw this on my trip to Taiwan, I was like, I need this in my collection. I need it immediately, please and thank you. Thankfully, I got this off of Book Depository before they closed, so I feel like it's destiny, it's fate that I get to own this book. And it's just beautiful. It's so stunning. So I'm really happy that I own this. The next question is, what books do you need to read before the end of the year? And the main priority, I do have a lot of other books that I have to get to before the year ends. I think I still have like 10 books left in my 23 books to read in 2023. But the main book that I want to finish in 2023, it's Anna Karenina, my dude, by Leo Tolstoy, the Leo Tolstoy. He also wrote War and Peace, which I also read. Thank you very much. Yes, I read War and Peace. I don't really talk about it that much, but yeah, I read War and Peace, and now I really want to read Anna Karenina. This is going to happen. It has to happen. I also really want to read Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov, but I don't know if I'll get around to it because I don't know how long this baby is going to take me. So I don't know. We'll just have to see. But this one is definitely the priority because I just need to know. I just need to know. So there we go. The last question of this tag, which I didn't even realize was a question because so many of the videos that I've seen don't include this one. But this morning, actually, I was watching Allison Page's take on this mid-year book freakout tag. She was kind enough to let me know that there is actually a final question to this tag, and it's to talk about some of your favorite booktubers or like content creators. I just wanted to take a second to thank Allison for letting me know about this beautiful question because I love talking about booktubers that I love and that inspire me to be better and do better. So thank you, Allison. And for this question, I really just want to talk about two content creators that I've just been really loving, and I've been finding a lot of comfort in their channels. The first one is Olivia Reads a Latte. I really enjoy her reading vlogs. They are so soothing and so calming, and I just feel like I'm talking with a friend or just like hanging out with someone over FaceTime. It's just so nice to have that type of content that just feels very chill and very laid back and not very produced. I don't know, there's just something about Olivia that I really connect with, and I just love spending time with her, albeit through a video. And then the other content creator that I've really been loving, I recently found her channel because she tagged me on a video that she made where she mentioned me, and that person is Meow. I really enjoy their booktube channel, and I would really appreciate it if you guys showed her some love because I feel like she is extremely underrated. She makes videos that are super entertaining and engaging, and I just love hearing her talk about the books or animes that she's been watching. So I would highly recommend that you guys go check her out and give her some love because she definitely deserves it. And let me know in the comments below what your favorite content creators are, whether it be of books or just lifestyle or any other random YouTuber that you love. I love expanding my subscription box, so I would really love some recommendations. And those are all of the questions for the mid-year book freakout tag. Let me know what you thought of my answers. If you'd like, I would love to also know your answers to these questions. What was your favorite book of 2023 so far? What was your biggest surprise, your biggest disappointment, your new favorite fictional crush, new favorite character? Let me know all down below. I would love to discuss it with you guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. It really helps my channel out, and it helps me keep doing what I love to do, which is these videos for you guys. I also have a Patreon where I post exclusive content, exclusive vlog. I host reading sprints and readathons. So if that is something that would be interesting to you, the link is down below. As always, I would love to have you join my army of premium simpers. Once again, I really hope you enjoyed, and I will definitely be seeing you next time. Bye.
Hey Jimmy, you nice. Keep going.